The morning sun painted the wheat fields of Cedar Falls, Iowa in golden colors. Sophia Martinez sat at the kitchen table, eating her cereal, while her mother Maria packed her lunch. The 8-year-old girl swung her legs back and forth under the chair, excited about the field trip to the Science Museum. "Don't forget your permission slip," Maria said, tucking the paper into Sophia's backpack. She kissed her daughter's forehead. "Have fun today, mija." Carlos Martinez looked up from his coffee and smiled at his daughter. "Learn something new for your old dad, okay?" Sophia giggled and hugged both parents before running outside to wait for the school transport. The big yellow vehicle came down their dirt road right on time, just like every morning. "Morning, Sophia," called Jake Thompson from his seat. The 10-year-old boy waved her over to sit next to him. Behind them, 7-year-old Lily Chen was reading a book about space, while 9-year-old Marcus Williams showed off his new toy robot to the other kids. The transport was full of excited children, all talking about the museum trip. Their teacher, Mrs. Davis, smiled from the front seat as she counted heads. "All 23 students present," she told the driver. "Let's go see some real dinosaurs." The children cheered as the transport pulled away from the Martinez farm and headed toward the main road. Sophia pressed her face to the window and waved at her parents, who stood watching from their porch. That was the last time anyone saw the children alive. At Jefferson Elementary School, Principal Brown checked his watch for the 5th time. The transport should have arrived 30 minutes ago. He tried calling Mrs. Davis, but her phone went straight to voicemail. A cold feeling grew in his stomach. Maria Martinez was arranging flowers at her shop when her phone rang. She saw the school's number and smiled, thinking Sophia had forgotten. "Something, Mrs. Martinez, this is Principal Brown. Has Sophia's transport arrived yet?" "Arrived where? They should be at school by now." Maria's hands stopped moving. The flowers fell to the floor. "The transport never made it to school. We're trying to locate all our vehicles right now." The phone slipped from Maria's fingers. She ran to her car and drove home as fast as she could, calling Carlos on the way. By noon, the truth was impossible to ignore. Not just Sophia's transport, but 17 school vehicles across North America had vanished. 340 children gone without a trace. The Martinez farm became a gathering place for desperate parents. Carlos stood in his living room, surrounded by mothers and fathers who looked just as lost as he felt. Some were crying. Others stared at nothing. A few paced back and forth, unable to sit still. "The police say there's no sign of an accident," said Tom Wilson, Jake's father. "No broken glass, no skid marks, nothing. It's like they just disappeared." "Cars don't just disappear," Maria said, her voice shaking. "Someone took our babies, Captain." Alex Stone arrived at Earth Defense Command headquarters in Geneva, 3 hours after the first reports came in. The elevator ride to the top floor felt like it took forever. When the doors opened, he found chaos. Officers ran between computer stations. Phones rang constantly. On the main screen, a map of North America showed 17 red dots where the transports had last been seen. "Captain Stone, thank God you're here," said Colonel Martinez, no relation to Sophia's family. "We've got a situation unlike anything we've ever seen." Alex studied the map. The red dots formed no pattern he could understand. Rural areas and cities, East Coast and West Coast, all hit at the same time. Any survivors? Any witnesses? None. But look at this. The colonel pressed a button and new data appeared on the screen. Our deep space sensors picked up energy readings at each location, all at the exact moment the transports vanished. What kind of energy? Unknown. Nothing in our database matches it. But Dr. Rachel Kim thinks she knows what we're dealing with. Dr. Kim entered the room carrying a thick folder. Her face was pale and serious. "Captain, I've been studying these energy signatures. They're similar to readings we detected 3 years ago, during the Outer Colony incident." Alex remembered that case. A mining station had reported strange lights in space before going silent. When rescue teams arrived, the entire facility was empty. No bodies, no signs of struggle. Just empty rooms and abandoned equipment. "You think it's the same people?" "Not people," Dr. Kim said quietly. The signatures matched theoretical models for alien technology, specifically transportation, systems that could move large objects across vast distances instantly. The room went quiet. Everyone knew about the theories, the possibilities, but this was the first time anyone had said it out loud. "Are you telling me that aliens took our children?" Alex asked. "I'm telling you that someone with technology far beyond ours made 340 children disappear at the same moment, leaving no trace except energy readings that don't match anything human science can produce." Back in Cedar Falls, Carlos Martinez stood in his daughter's bedroom, holding her favorite stuffed animal. The room still smelled like her shampoo. Her bed was still unmade from where she had jumped out that morning, excited about her day. Maria found him there an hour later. She didn't say anything, just stood beside him and took his hand. "She's not dead," Carlos said suddenly. "I can feel it. She's scared and she's far away, but she's alive." "How can you know that?" "Because she's our daughter. She's strong like you and stubborn like me. Whoever took her is going to regret it." As night fell, families across the continent held the same vigil. Parents who had never met each other found themselves connected by the worst thing that could happen to any family. They shared phone numbers and email addresses. They made plans to search together. At Earth Defense Command, Alex Stone looked at the star chart on his office wall. Somewhere out there, 340 children were waiting for rescue. The thought made his hands shake with anger. Dr. Kim knocked on his door. "Alex, you need to see this." She handed him a report from the Deep Space Monitoring Station. "We tracked the energy signatures. Whatever took the children, it left our solar system 6 hours ago. The trail leads toward the Vega system." Alex studied the data. Vega was 25 light-years away. With human technology, it would take decades to reach it. But if someone had technology that could steal children from Earth in broad daylight, maybe they had technology that could get there faster. How long to prepare the retribution for deep space travel? "Captain, that ship isn't designed for interstellar missions." "Then we'll redesign it. We'll rebuild it if we have to." Alex looked at the star chart again. "Those children are counting on us. We're going to bring them home." Outside, the first stars were becoming visible in the darkening sky. In bedrooms across North America, empty beds waited for children who might never sleep in them again. But in the hearts of their parents and in the halls of Earth's military command, something new was growing. Something dangerous. Something that would make the aliens regret the day they learned what human children meant to their families. 3 days passed since the children vanished. 3 days of no sleep, no answers, and no hope from the government. Carlos Martinez stood in his living room, looking at the faces of 47 parents who had driven to his farm from across the state. "The police keep telling us to wait," said Tom Wilson, Jake's father. His eyes were red from crying. "Wait for what? For our kids to die?" "They're not dead," Maria Martinez said firmly. She had said these words so many times they felt like a prayer. Someone took them for a reason. Dead children are no use to anyone. In the corner, Lisa Chen held her husband's hand. Their daughter Lily was the youngest child taken. "What if we never see them again?" she whispered. "We will," Carlos said. "But not if we sit here doing nothing." He spread a map on the coffee table. Red circles marked where each transport had disappeared. "I've been talking to other families online. Parents from California, Texas, New York. All their kids vanished. The same way at the same time." "What does that mean?" asked Marcus Williams' mother, Susan. "It means whoever did this planned it carefully. They knew exactly which buses to take, when to take them, and how to do it without being seen." Maria looked up from her laptop. "I've been in contact with families from Canada and Mexico, too. The same thing happened there. Kids vanished. No trace left behind." The room went quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. The kidnapping wasn't just local, it was huge. "So what do we do?" Tom asked. Carlos pointed to his laptop screen. "We organize, we share information, we find out who took our children, and we make them bring them back." 500 miles away in Geneva, Admiral Patricia Hayes walked into the emergency meeting room. Representatives from every major country sat around a long table. The American president was on the video screen, along with the leaders of Russia, China, and the European Union. "The situation is worse than we first thought," Admiral Hayes began. "It's not just North America. We've confirmed similar disappearances in Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and parts of Europe. Total count is now over 500 children." The Chinese representative leaned forward. "Our intelligence suggests this was coordinated from space. The energy, signatures all point to the same source." "Which brings us to our response," the American president said from the screen. "We're authorizing the immediate preparation of our most advanced spacecraft for an interstellar mission." Admiral Hayes nodded. "The UES Retribution will be modified with our fastest engines and strongest weapons. Captain Alex Stone will command the mission." "What are our chances?" asked the European Union leader. "Unknown. We're dealing with technology. We don't understand facing an enemy we've never seen, traveling farther than humans have ever gone." Admiral Hayes paused. "But we're going anyway." Captain Alex Stone stood in the shipyard, watching engineers swarm over the Retribution. The ship was being torn apart and rebuilt. New engines, new weapons, new life support systems designed for a journey that might take months. "It's going to be tight," said Lieutenant Commander Danny Rodriguez, Alex's navigation officer. "We're packing everything we can into a ship that wasn't designed for this kind of mission." Dr. Rachel Kim joined them, carrying a tablet full of data. "I've been analyzing the alien energy signatures. The patterns suggest a species that thinks very differently from humans. Cold, logical, calculating." "What do you mean?" Alex asked. "They took children, not adults. Children from different countries, different backgrounds, but all between the ages of 6 and 12. There's a pattern here, but I don't understand it yet." Chief Engineer Katie Sullivan climbed down from the ship's engine section, oil on her hands and face. "Captain, the new engines are installed, but I can't promise. They'll get us there and back. We're pushing human technology beyond its limits." "Then we'll have to be smarter than our technology," Alex said. "How long until we're ready?" 48 hours, sir." Back in Cedar Falls, the Martinez farm had become an unofficial headquarters for desperate parents. Cars from different states filled the driveway. Inside the house, people worked on laptops, made phone calls, and shared every piece of information they could find. Carlos had contacted a friend from his military days, someone who worked in intelligence. The information he received made his blood run cold. "Maria, come here," he called. "You need to see this." She looked at the classified documents on his screen. "How did you get these?" "Friends who care about children. Look at this." He pointed to a section marked Zarin Collective. "Who are the Zarins?" "According to this, they're aliens. Real aliens. Our government has known about them for years but kept it secret. They're from somewhere near the star Vega." Maria read over his shoulder. The report described the Zarins as a highly advanced species with no emotions, no creativity, no art. They saw other species as things to be studied and used. "It says here they've been watching us," Maria said. "Studying human behavior, especially children. And now they've taken our kids." Carlos closed the laptop. "The government is sending a ship to get them back." "One ship?" "One ship against an entire alien civilization." That night, Carlos couldn't sleep. He walked outside and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Sophia was alive but scared. He could feel it in his heart. His phone buzzed. A text. Message from Tom Wilson. "Government ship launches tomorrow. Should we trust them?" Carlos typed back, "We trust them to try, but we prepare for them to fail." The next morning brought news that changed everything. Dr. Kim's research team had broken part of the alien communication code. The message they decoded made everyone's worst fears real. Admiral Hayes read the translation to the Emergency Council. Specimens collected successfully. Human juveniles show promising cognitive flexibility. Beginning Phase 2 research protocols. "Specimens," the American president repeated. "They're treating our children like lab rats." "Phase 2, said the Chinese representative. "What's Phase 2? Dr. Kim's voice was barely a whisper. "We don't know. But based on Zarin behavior patterns, it probably involves biological experimentation." The room erupted in angry voices. Every parent on the planet would want to know this information, and every government wanted to keep it secret to prevent panic. The Retribution launches in 12 hours, Admiral Hayes announced. Captain Stone, you have full authority to use any means necessary to bring our children home. Captain Alex Stone saluted. Yes, ma'am. We'll bring them back. All of them, Captain. Every single child. As the sun set, the parents gathered at the Martinez farm held hands in a circle on the front porch. 47 mothers and fathers, united by the worst thing that could happen to any family. Our children are strong, Carlos said. They'll survive until we can get to them. The government ship might not be enough, Maria added. But it's a start. Tom Wilson squeezed his wife's hand. And if it's not enough? Carlos looked up at the stars again. Then we'll find another way. We'll build our own ships if we have to. We'll tear the galaxy apart if we have to. But we'll bring them home, everyone said together. That night, as parents across the world tried to sleep in empty houses, the Retribution prepared for launch. In the engine room, Katie Sullivan ran final checks on systems that had never been tested. In the navigation center, Danny Rodriguez plotted a course to a star system no human had ever visited. And in his quarters, Captain Alex Stone looked at photos of the missing children. 512 faces, 512 reasons to risk everything. Tomorrow humanity would reach for the stars not in wonder, but in anger. The aliens had made a terrible mistake. They had taken human children, and now they would learn what that meant. Sofia Martinez opened her eyes in a room that looked like a hospital but felt wrong. The walls were too white, too smooth. The ceiling glowed with soft light that came from nowhere. The bed was comfortable, but it wasn't her bed. She sat up slowly, remembering the bright flash of light that had surrounded the school transport. One moment she was laughing with Jake about the museum trip, and the next moment she was here. Sophia, a small voice called from the next bed. It was Lily Chen, the 7-year-old from her transport. The little girl's eyes were wide with fear. I'm here, Lily. It's okay. Sophia got out of bed and hugged the younger girl. Where are we? I don't know. The walls don't have any windows. Sophia looked around the room. Besides their 2 beds, there were 21 others, all filled with sleeping children from their transport. They were all still wearing their school clothes, but someone had taken their shoes. Everyone's here, Sophia whispered. That's good. A door opened in the wall, even though Sophia hadn't seen any door there before. A tall, thin creature walked in. It looked almost human, but wrong. Its skin was gray and smooth like plastic. Its eyes were too big and had no color. It wore a white coat like a doctor. The creature looked at Sophia and made sounds that might have been words, but she couldn't understand them. It pointed at her, then at a chair that appeared from the floor. I'm not going anywhere with you, Sophia said, pulling Lily behind her. The creature made more sounds. This time, Sophia heard words, mixed in with the strange noises. Sit, need, check, health. You can talk, learn, fast, sit, please. Sophia didn't want to sit, but she didn't want the creature to hurt Lily either. She walked to the chair, keeping herself between the creature and the little girl. The creature held up a device that looked like a flashlight. It pointed the device at Sophia and pressed a button. Sophia felt warm for a second, then normal again. Good, healthy, strong mind. What do you want with us? Sophia asked. Study, learn. Human children. Very interesting. By now, other children were waking up. Jake Thompson jumped out of his bed when he saw the creature, but Sophia held up her hand to stop him. It's okay, Jake. It's not hurting us. Marcus Williams sat up in his bed, staring at the creature with curious eyes instead of scared ones. Are you an alien? Zarin. You are specimens. Specimens? Jake asked. Things to study, Marcus explained. Like bugs under a microscope. The creature tilted its head. Not bugs. Special. Human children show. Different thinking. Want to understand. Over the next few days, the children learned more about their situation. The creature's name was something they couldn't pronounce, so Sophia started calling it Gray. Gray seemed to like this name. Gray explained that they were on a space station orbiting a planet near the star Vega. The Zarans had been watching Earth for years, trying to understand how humans thought and felt. Adult humans too complicated, Gray told them during one of their daily checkups. Children minds more simple, easier to study. We're not simple, Jake said angrily. Not simple, different simple. Your minds grow and change. Very interesting. The children were kept in rooms that changed based on what the Zarans wanted to study. Sometimes the rooms had puzzles to solve. Sometimes they had art supplies. Sometimes they had games that required teamwork. Sophia realized the aliens were testing them, trying to understand how human children think and play and solve problems. They want to know what makes us different from them, she told the others during their rest time. What do you mean? Lily asked. Marcus pointed to the wall, where they could see Zarans walking in the hallway. Look how they move. Everything is the same. They walk the same speed, turn at the same angles, never run or skip or play. They don't laugh either, Jake added. Have you heard any of them laugh? Sophia had noticed this too. The Zarans never seemed happy or sad or angry. They just were. I think that's why they took us, she said. They want to understand feelings. During their second week in the space station, Jake made an important discovery. During their exercise, time in a larger room, he noticed that some of the walls had marks on them. When he looked closer, he realized they were scratches made by fingernails. Someone else was here before us, he whispered to Sophia. Other humans? I don't think so. Look at these scratches, they're too high up and there are too many fingers. Sophia studied the marks. Jake was right. Whatever made these scratches had hands with more than 5 fingers. That night, Marcus figured out how to make one of the communication devices work. It was meant for the Zarans to study human problem-solving, but Marcus had always been good with electronics. The device crackled to life, and they heard voices speaking in languages they didn't recognize. But some of the voices sounded young, like children. Hello? Sophia whispered into the device. Can anyone hear us? The voices stopped. Then very quietly someone answered in broken English. Human children, you here too? Yes, where are you? Deeper in station, been here long time. Others here too, from different worlds. Sophia's blood went cold. How long have you been here? Many seasons. Lost count. Some of us changed. Made different by Zarans. Not same as before. The connection crackled and died. Marcus tried to fix it, but it wouldn't work anymore. There are other kids here, Sophia told the group. From other planets. What did they mean? By changed? Lily asked. Jake had been thinking about this. Remember what Gray said about wanting to understand how we think? What if they're not just studying us? What if they're trying to take our thoughts and put them into Zaran brains? That's impossible, Marcus said, but he didn't sound sure. Is it? They can make people disappear from Earth and bring them here. They can make rooms appear and disappear. Why couldn't they change brains? Sophia felt sick. We have to get out. Of here. How? We don't even know where here is. Then we learn. We watch. We wait for our chance. Far away in space between the stars, the UES Retribution traveled toward the Vega system. Captain Alex Stone stood on the bridge, looking at the star that was slowly getting brighter ahead of them. How much longer? He asked Danny Rodriguez. 18 hours to reach the outer edge of the system, sir. Then we'll need to be very careful. We don't know what kind of defenses they have. Dr. Rachel Kim worked at her station, studying everything they knew about Zaran technology. Captain, I've been thinking about why they took children instead of adults. And children's brains are still growing, still changing. If the Zarans wanted to understand human creativity and emotions, they'd want to study brains that are still flexible. Katie Sullivan looked up from her engineering console. You mean they want to see how human thinking develops? Or how to copy it? Dr. Kim's voice was grim. If they could take human creativity and combine it with Zaran logic and technology? Captain, Stone didn't want to finish that thought. An alien race with human imagination and alien technology would be unstoppable. Then we'd better get our children back before they figure it out. Back on the Zarin station, Sofia Martinez lay in her bed, staring at the glowing ceiling. She had become the leader of the human children, the one they looked to when they were scared. But she was scared too. Not just of the Zarins, but of what might happen to her friends if they stayed here much longer. She thought about her parents, Carlos and Maria. She knew they were looking for her. She knew they would never stop looking. "Hold on, Mama," she whispered, to the empty air. "I'm going to find a way out of here, and when I do, these aliens are going to be sorry they ever heard of Earth." The UES Retribution floated in the darkness at the edge of the Vega system. Captain Alex Stone watched the main screen, where a massive space station hung in orbit around a dead planet. The station was bigger than any city on Earth. "That's where our children are," he said quietly. Dr. Rachel Kim studied her instruments. "I'm reading over 3,000 life signs on that station. Most are Zarin, but I can detect human signatures too." "How many humans?" "Hard to tell with all the interference, but at least 500. Maybe more." Lieutenant Commander Danny Rodriguez pointed to his navigation screen. "Captain, we have a problem. There are 12 Zarin warships patrolling the area around the E station." Alex looked at the tactical display. Each Zarin ship was twice the size of the Retribution. "Can we get past them?" "Not without being detected. Their sensors are too advanced." Chief Engineer Katie Sullivan spoke up from her station. "The stealth system is working, but it won't hide us if we get too close or fire our weapons." Alex studied the situation. One human ship against 12 alien warships trying to rescue children from a station the size of a city. The odds were impossible. "Dr. Kim, you said you could disrupt their neural systems with electromagnetic pulses?" "In theory, yes, but I'd need to get close enough to the station to target their central nervous system hub." "How close?" "Very close. Close enough that they'll definitely see us coming." Alex made his decision. "Then we go in fast and hard. Katie, give me everything. The engines have got." "Danny, plot a course straight for the station." "Kim, prepare your EMP device." "Sir," Danny said carefully, "this is a suicide mission." "No, this is a rescue mission. The suicide part is optional." On the Zarin station, Sofia Martinez had been planning for 3 weeks. She had memorized the guard schedules, mapped the ventilation system with Jake's help, and figured out which doors locked and which ones didn't. "Tonight," she told the other children during their rest period, "when the lights dim for sleep time, we make our move." Marcus Williams had fixed another communication device. This one was hidden under his mattress. "I've been talking to the other kids deeper in the station. Some of them have been here for years. They say the Zarins are planning something big." "What kind of something?" Lily Chen asked. She was braver now than when they first arrived, but still stayed close to Sophia. "They're going to start the final experiment soon, taking parts of our brains and putting them into Zarin bodies." "Jake." Thompson clenched his fists. "Over my dead body." "That might be what happens," Marcus said quietly. "The other kids say that once the experiments start, the children don't come back the same. Some don't come back at all." Sophia felt cold inside, but she kept her voice steady. "Then we leave tonight." "Where will we go?" Lily asked. "Anywhere but here. I'd rather die trying to escape than let them cut up my brain." The other children nodded. They were all scared, but they were more angry than scared now. That evening, Gray came to check on them as usual. The Zarin seemed excited about something. "Tomorrow, special day," Gray told them. "Begin important tests. Learn how human thinking works. You help make Zarins better." "What if we don't want to help?" Sophia asked. Gray tilted its head, confused. "Not choice is purpose. Why you here?" "Our purpose is to go home to our families. Family's not important. Learning important. You see tomorrow." After Gray left, Sophia gathered the children around her. "That's it. We're not waiting another day." 2 hours after the lights dimmed, Sophia led the way into the ventilation system. Jake went first because he was the best at finding paths in tight spaces. Marcus brought the communication device to stay in contact with the other prisoners. Lily stayed close to Sophia because she was the smallest and might get lost. They crawled through metal tunnels for what felt like hours. The air was stale and hot. Finally, Jake found an opening that led to a different part of the station. "This is where the other kids said they were," Jake whispered. They dropped down into a hallway that looked different from their section. The walls were darker, and there was a strange smell in the air. "Hello?" Sophia called softly. "We're the human kids from Section 7. A door opened, and 3 creatures stepped out. Sophia's heart stopped. They looked almost human, but wrong. Their skin was gray like the Zarans, but they had human eyes, human hair, human faces that didn't quite fit right. "You shouldn't have come here," one of them said in a voice that sounded like it was coming from underwater. "What happened to you?" Lily whispered. "We were human once, from a planet called Kepler. The Zarans took us when we were young like you. They changed us, made us part Zaran, part human." Sophia felt sick. "How long ago?" "Time has no meaning here. But we remember our families. We remember our home. We remember being children." Marcus stepped forward. "Can you help us escape?" "There is no escape. But..." The creature looked around nervously. "There is something else. Something the Zarans don't know we can do." "What?" "We can access their computer systems, our human creativity, combined with their technology. We can cause problems." Jake's eyes lit up. "You mean sabotage?" "Yes. We've been waiting for the right moment. Maybe this is it." Suddenly, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "What's happening?" Sophia asked. The hybrid creature listened to sounds the human children couldn't hear. "A human ship has entered the system. Your people have come for you." In space, the Retribution raced toward the station under heavy fire. The Zaran warships had surrounded them, shooting beams of energy that shook the human ship. "Hull damage on decks 3 and 4, Katie Sullivan reported. "Engines at 60% power. Return fire," Alex ordered. The Retribution's weapons struck one of the Zaran ships but barely scratched its hull. "Their shields are too strong," Danny said. "We can't penetrate them with conventional weapons. Then we use unconventional weapons." Alex turned to Dr. Kim. "How close do you need to be to use the EMP?" 500 meters from the station. "We're 10,000 meters away and taking heavy fire." "Captain," Katie said, "I have an idea. What if we ram one of their ships? Use our momentum to get through their defensive line?" "That would destroy us too. Not if we abandon ship first. Use the escape pods to reach the station while the ship crashes into their formation." Alex looked around the bridge at his crew. They all knew what this meant. The Retribution would be destroyed, and they would be stranded in enemy territory, with no way home. "Do it," he said. On the station, Sophia and the other children felt the vibrations of the space battle outside. The hybrid creatures led them through corridors toward the central computer core. "If we can overload their systems now while they're distracted by the battle, we can shut down the station's defenses," one of the hybrids explained. They reached a room filled with strange machinery. The hybrid creatures began pressing buttons and manipulating controls with movements that were too fast for human eyes to follow. "It's working," Marcus said, watching displays that showed the station's systems failing one by one. "The barriers around the prisoner sections are opening." Throughout the station, doors that had been locked for years suddenly opened. Children from dozens of worlds, some still fully human, and others partially changed, began emerging from their cells. The Zaran guards tried to restore order, but their technology was failing. The hybrid creatures had used their unique combination of human creativity and Zaran knowledge to turn the station's own systems against it. In space, the Retribution smashed into the lead Zaran warship. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the darkness. But in those final moments, the human crew had fired their escape pods toward the station. Captain Alex Stone floated in his pod, watching pieces of his ship drift past the window. Behind him, 11 other pods carried his crew toward the enemy station. "This is Stone to all pods," he said into his radio. "Prepare for hostile boarding. We're going in." On the station, Sofia Martinez stood in the central computer room. watching displays show the approaching human rescue pods. Around her, children from a dozen worlds prepared to fight for their freedom. "Get ready," she told them. "Our people are here." The real battle was about to begin. Captain Alex Stone's escape pod smashed through the outer wall of the Zarin station. Alarms screamed as air rushed out of the hole, but emergency barriers sealed the breach within seconds. Alex kicked open the pod door and found himself face to face with 3 Zarin guards. "Surprise," he said, and opened fire. The Zarins fell to the floor, their gray bodies twitching. Alex's weapon used Dr. Kim's electromagnetic technology, designed specifically to disrupt Zarin nervous systems. "This is Stone," he said into his radio. "I'm inside. Report." One by one, his crew checked in. Dr. Kim had landed in a laboratory section. Danny Rodriguez was somewhere near the power core. Katie Sullivan was in the engine room. "Captain, Dr. Kim's voice crackled through the radio. "You need to see what I found. They have children here who've been surgically altered. Part human, part Zarin." Alex felt sick. "How many?" "Dozens, maybe hundreds. Some of them are helping the other prisoners escape." In the central computer room, Sofia Martinez watched the displays as human soldiers fought their way through the station corridors. But there were only 12 humans against thousands of Zarins. "We need to help them," she told the hybrid children who were still working at the computer controls. "The station's defense systems are almost completely shut down," one of the hybrids said. "But there are still too many guards." Marcus Williams pointed to another display. "Look at this. The Zarin ships outside are coming back to the station. They're going to dock and send more soldiers." Sophia felt fear creep into her chest, but she pushed it away. They had come too far to give up now. "Can you lock the docking bays?" she asked the hybrids. "Yes, but not for long. The Zarins will override our commands eventually." "How long?" "Maybe 20 minutes. Sophia made her decision. "Then we use those 20 minutes to get every prisoner to the escape pods." Jake Thompson had been exploring the station's map on one of the computer screens. "Sophia, look at this. There's a whole section marked Earth Database. The Zorans have been studying our planet for years." "What kind of studying?" Marcus leaned over Jake's shoulder to read the data. "Military positions, government secrets, population centers. They weren't just planning to take children. They were planning to invade Earth." The room went quiet. Even the hybrid children stopped working to listen. "Invade?" Lily Chen whispered. "Look at these numbers," Jake said, his voice shaking. "They have a fleet of over 1,000 ships. They were going to attack Earth after they finished studying us." Sophia felt cold anger flow through her body. "Not anymore, they're not." She turned to the hybrids. "Can you delete their database, all of it?" "Yes, but it would trigger every security system they have. The station would be put on lockdown." "Do it anyway." "Sophia, that would trap us here. Better trapped here than letting them attack Earth." One of the hybrids moved to a different control panel. "Deletion will take 5 minutes. Once it starts, we can't stop it." "Then start it now." Meanwhile, Captain Stone had found Dr. Kim in a laboratory filled with horrible things. Tanks containing body parts from different alien species. Operating tables stained with blood. Computer records showing decades of experiments on captured children. "My God," Alex whispered. "How many worlds have they done this to?" Dr. Kim was studying a wall chart. "According to this, they've captured specimens from 47 different planets. Earth was just the latest." "Were any of the other worlds as advanced as us?" "No. We're the first species they encountered that had space travel and advanced weapons. That's why they were being so careful with us." Alex understood. They wanted to learn everything about human military technology before they attacked. "Captain," Danny Rodriguez's voice came over the radio. "I'm at the power core. If I overload it, I can destroy the entire station." "Negative. There are children here we need to save first." "Sir, I'm reading massive energy buildup in the computer core. Someone's running a complete data purge." Alex smiled. "Smart kids." In the computer room, the deletion program was halfway finished when Zarin soldiers finally broke through the doors. Sophia grabbed Lily and pushed her behind one of the computer consoles. "Keep the program running," she shouted to the hybrids. The Zarans fired energy weapons that melted holes in the walls. Jake and Marcus dove for cover as sparks flew from damaged equipment. One of the hybrid children stood up from behind his console. The program is complete. All data about Earth has been destroyed. A Zaran beam caught him in the chest. He fell to the floor, his gray human face peaceful for the first time since Sophia had met him. "No!" Lily screamed. More human soldiers burst into the room from another entrance. Captain Stone led them, firing his electromagnetic weapon at every Zaran he could see. "Get the children out of here," he ordered his men. "Captain Stone," Sophia called out, "you came for us?" "We came for all of you." He helped her to her feet. "How many children are on this station?" "Hundreds, from lots of different planets." "Then we save all of them." Dr. Kim's voice came over the radio. "Captain, I've found the main escape pod bay, but there's a problem. The pods are programmed to go to Zaran planets, not back to Earth." "Can you reprogram them?" "Not with Zaran technology, but maybe." She paused. "Marcus Williams, are you there? I need someone who understands both human and alien computers." Marcus looked at Sophia, who nodded. "I'm here, Dr. Kim. I need you to help me reprogram the escape pods. Can you do that?" "I think so. The hybrid kids taught me how their systems work." For the next 10 minutes, while Captain Stone's soldiers held off Zaran reinforcements, Marcus worked with Dr. Kim to reprogram the escape pods. One by one, pods filled with children from dozens of worlds launched toward different star systems, carrying the survivors home. But there were too many children and not enough pods for everyone. "Captain," Katie Sullivan's voice crackled over the radio. "The Zaran ships are almost through our lockdown of the docking bays. We've got maybe 5 minutes before this place is crawling with enemy soldiers." Alex looked around the escape pod bay. 50 human children and 30 alien children still waited for rescue, but only 5 pods remained. "Sir," Danny Rodriguez called from the power core. "I can overload the reactor. Give you time to get the last children out. That would destroy the station. You'd die. Better than letting these kids get recaptured." Alex was about to refuse when Sophia tugged on his sleeve. "Captain, what if we don't need the pods?" "What do you mean?" She pointed to a display showing the Zaran ships approaching the station. "Those ships have escape pods too, and if Marcus can reprogram the station's computers..." Alex understood immediately. "You want to steal their ships?" "Why not? They stole us." Marcus was already at work on another computer terminal. "I can unlock the docking bay doors and disable the ship's security systems, but someone would have to get to the ships and fly them." "I can do that," Alex said. "Military training." "So can I," said Jake Thompson. "I've been playing flight simulators since I was 6. This isn't a game, son. Neither was being kidnapped by aliens. But we survived that too." 20 minutes later, the last Zaran ship undocked from the station carrying 85 children from 20 different worlds. Captain Stone sat in the pilot seat with Jake Thompson as his co-pilot, while Sophia Martinez helped keep the younger children calm. Behind them, the station exploded as Danny Rodriguez overloaded the power core. The other Zaran ships tried to follow them, but Marcus had sabotaged their engines before they escaped. 6 months later, Sophia Martinez stood on the lawn of her family's farm in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Her parents held her tight as news reporters from around the world asked questions about her experience. "How do you feel about being home?" one reporter asked. "Good," Sophia said simply. "But this isn't over." "What do you mean?" "The Zarans hurt a lot of kids from a lot of planets. Someone needs to make sure they never do it again." Carlos Martinez put his hand on his daughter's shoulder. "And how do you think we should do that?" Sophia looked up at the sky, where Earth's new space fleet was being built in orbital shipyards. Ships named after the children who had been taken. The UES Sophia Martinez, the UES Jake Thompson, the UES Marcus Williams. We make sure everyone in the galaxy knows what happens when you mess with human children. 3 years later, the Zaran homeworld surrendered after a brief war against the human coalition and their allies from the worlds whose children had been rescued. The former test subjects, now adults, served as translators and advisors to make sure justice was served correctly. Sophia Martinez, now 11 years old, gave a speech to the new Galactic Council. You took us because you thought we were weak. You thought our parents wouldn't fight for us. You thought wrong. She looked out at the representatives from hundreds of worlds. Humans protect children, all children from every planet. And if anyone tries to hurt kids again, they'll learn what we learned. There's nothing more dangerous in the universe than a human parent whose child is in danger. The applause lasted for 10 minutes. And in the deep darkness between the stars, species that had never heard of Earth passed along a new piece of wisdom. Never touch the human children. Never.